We're going to have fun tonight. It is Saintly's birthday, after all. And Andre Iguodala back. Happy birthday, Gary St. Jean. Warriors were down 24 late in the first half, 55-31. They were down 62-43 at half. They got it down to 4 late in the third quarter. Andrew Wiggins came alive big time in that quarter, and they got it down to 73-69. And then all of a sudden it was 83-75 going to the fourth quarter. St. Lee, they got it. Singing Gary St. Jean a happy birthday. Welcome. We'll get to the birthday boy, Greg Papa, alongside the Hall of Famer, Chris Mullen, and the birthday boy, forever young, Gary St. Jean. As is Andre Iguodala, Bob, and Kalena, as we welcome you to Toyota Warriors postgame live. Andre's number is just incredible. Didn't score a lot tonight, but Fitz, you look up at the box score at the end, and he was a plus 25. And that push they made early in the fourth quarter when he and Jay Crowder came in together, the Warrior 4-point deficit at that point all of a sudden grew to 17.
Well, I think that's the whole thing with Iguodala, and that's why that trade is going to be nice for Miami, is that Iguodala and Crowder, now with Dragic and Olynyk, there's not a lot of teams that go 9-10 deep like that. And then the improvement of Bam Adebayo is just remarkable. And then they all satellite around Jimmy Butler, who's going to make sure, okay, I need rebounding or assists or great defense, scoring. And Miami's one of the, we just had that tour of the Eastern Conference. The Heat are different than some of the other elite teams in the East.
They can hurt you in a lot of different ways. And we saw some of the shooting. They didn't shoot an incredible percentage from three-point range tonight. But you were talking about the depth. They were already one of the best teams in the league when it came to bench points.
Yeah.
Now you bring in Andre Iguodala. You bring in Jay Crowder. Defensively, they're probably better off the bench than they were before the trade deadline. So it's one of those things where you look at them and go, okay, this is a team that can cause some problems in the East. When you look at a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, who's probably head and shoulders above everybody else in the East right now. Miami is one of those exciting teams. Whenever you have the shooting like they have, you can always hurt teams. But then the depth, the defense, Jimmy Butler, his toughness, his leadership, it's a really good team.
And for the Warriors, this could have been a very different night in terms of you're getting blown out in the second quarter, you're down 24, and yet the third quarter was phenomenal in terms of these young guys don't know any of the plays or really each other at all, yet there was a character and a defensive effort in the third where they totally outplayed a really good team, and it took Andre and Crowder, as Pop was mentioning, for Miami to kind of right the ship.
They showed they have a lot of pride, this Warrior team. They don't know each other. Obviously, the chemistry isn't there, and they're trying to work some things out offensively. They came out that third quarter, and they're like, we're going to compete. We're going to try to make this a close game.
And Wiggins had 14 in the third.
Wiggins came out. He had a much better third quarter, and they got the game into single digits, which is a feat in itself against a team that was really playing well on both sides of the floor. They got so much intense defensively. They got their intensity ratcheted up on the defensive side. They were moving the ball offensively and getting drawn kicks, and they started knocking down shots. So they got into a nice rhythm really on both sides, and they were the more aggressive team there for a while. And then Miami Heat, being the veteran team that they are, just, okay, hold on just a second. Fourth quarter, we're going to go to Jimmy Butler. We're going to go to Goran Dragic, all our guys that can score, our playmakers, and we're going to close the game out, which is not really surprising.
Yeah, so we all want to give Gary St. Jean the happy birthday, but Pop,
happy birthday.
It's also Zaza Pachulia's birthday today as well. So, I mean, everybody on Warrior Pre and Post Game Live, two of the birthday boys, both today, which is happy birthday to both Zaza and Sing.
I saw Zaza before the game, gave him a big hug. I had no idea it was his birthday. So we'll give him a hug when we see him. We'll see you guys. One more game to go before the All-Star break. 6 o'clock tip from Phoenix on Wednesday. We'll be on the air at 5 o'clock. Warriors pregame live. I didn't realize you and Za share February the 10th together, St. Lee.
Happy to share the birth date with them.
Absolutely. And I love that they're singing happy birthday to the Saintly one, which was terrific. All right, a formal welcome to the Warriors postgame live. Greg Papa, Gary St. Jean, and the Hall of Famer. Andre Iguodala, you know, his first two games as a Miami Heat, last night in Portland. He played more minutes than I think we thought he was going to play. He played 16 consecutive minutes. He got the hug from Draymond Green before the game, and then they went rock, paper, scissors to see who would introduce him, and Clay lost. So Clay had to introduce him, which is classic. He didn't play a lot of minutes. Mully played 16:53, and in typical Andre fashion, he was a plus 25 tonight.
Well, his incredible experience, his high IQ, you could just plug him in on any team in the league, and he's going to facilitate offense and play great defense. And he said that's one of the plays they used to run here for him. Little back pick and slip, got a nice easy dunk. And Eric Spoelstra said the other night, I don't know if he's ready, but I'm going to play him. So what this team has, they got their roles all well-defined. And what he did tonight, he went out, they just facilitated, spaced the floor the right way, played great defense, and that's what Pat Riley got him for.
Well, this is a Pat Riley move to me. Molly and I were talking about this. He loves players with high IQ. And when you look at this Miami Heat team, they played last night up in Portland and got beat. But when you look at their bodies, they're in great shape. And there's their accountability there. And they've got these young players in Nunn and Robinson, and Hero didn't play tonight. Then you got the growth of Adebayo, the smart play of Dragic. They've got a lot of nice pieces, and they're deep. They'll be very good in the West and the East.
They got Jimmy Buckets, who does a little bit of everything for this team.
What Pat Riley has always done with his organizations has been discipline and conditioning. And what he feels is not only you get physically fit, mentally you're sharp. And like you said, Pop, at halftime, a back-to-back, it looked the other way around. Because his team was fresh, because they're physically fit and mentally sharp.
And I think the Warriors just caught this team at the wrong time. They had not had a 3-game losing streak all year. They lost their first 3 legs of this road trip at the Clippers, at Sac last. He is clever, Andre Iguodala, and he's got his first win as a member of the Miami Heat. And for the Warriors, their 42nd loss of the year. They fall to 12-42. Warriors were down just 24-20 after one quarter, were badly outplayed in the second quarter, outscored 38-23, where they were down as many as 24 late in the first half. Steve Kerr's postgame press conference brought to you by BMW. First question from our Gareth Bird.
How much do you sense guys trying to acclimate to each other and figure out their roles?
Yeah, I thought there was some of that in the first half. But what disappointed me was that affected our competitiveness. I thought our body language was really bad the first half. And there was some frustration, based on shots not going in. And, it is a legitimate excuse to say, well, we've only been together for 2 days and all that stuff. But there's never an excuse for not competing and playing to a level where you're expected to compete. And I thought that's what happened in the first half, and I thought in the second half the guys were great. Competed, played with pace, played with energy, climbed back in the game. And in the end, we just didn't have enough. We were playing against a team that needed the win badly. They'd lost 3 in a row. We talked about that before the game. They came out and took it to us right away.
Marquise has had 2 really good games back-to-back. Do you think at all, him settling his contract stuff, getting on the full-time roster, do you think that settled him a little bit? Probably.
You can ask him. I just think all in all, he's had a good season. We've seen the growth throughout, even when we released him, a month ago, whatever it was. Nobody wanted to do that, but it was all circumstantial based on our attack situation. And so we were all thrilled when we got him back. And I felt like he just continued his growth through the last few weeks. And then the good thing was to, get him to a full-time contract. And now he's practicing with us. And so things have settled. So I would guess that's a factor for him. But, I would ask him that.
Steve, how would you evaluate Wiggins' night? He had a huge third quarter, a little quieter other parts of the game.
Yeah, I thought his play reflected ours. We got nothing going in the first half. And then the third quarter, when we started really competing and playing with pace, that's when Andrew got going. And, he's brand new here. He's had literally one practice and one shoot-around. And so he's just figuring out his surroundings. We're just figuring out lineups. So this is why I think it's a big deal that we got him now, rather than this summer or whenever. I mean, just to get 30 games under his belt going into next season will be huge for Andrew and for us, because we're seeing things on tape that he needs to work on, and then he's learning to play with our guys, and he'll have some thoughts for us, and we'll work together, and he'll make a lot of improvement over the next couple months.
Steve, big men who can pass probably too often get the Draymond Green comp, but having said that, do you see any of that in Bam Adebayo?
Well, I think the similarity is the playmaking. You know, it's rare to have a combination of playmaking big and a guy who can defend the paint. It's not something you see very often. So Bam has had a fantastic season, and I think Miami is playing quite a bit like we've played over the last 5 years, and Bam is in the center of that offense like Draymond's been. So it's a good comparison.
Steve, I know it's
count it. Mullen already wants to go to the commissioner here.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't play a whole lot.
Oh man!
So it had to be Bowman to Chris was the call, and he didn't have any.
Protest.
Secaucus. Let's go.
Protest.
Let's go to Secaucus.
We want to
caucus
replay.
or the Iowa caucus? The Apps, you're not going to get the results there either. So the interesting thing
Where's
is
Joey Crawford when you need him?
Trey, throw you out of here. Don't laugh. Don't laugh, Tim Duncan. Draymond threw him one, and then we saw the one there. Interestingly, as you were pointing out, Kai Bowman did not play much in the second half. He played like 3.5 minutes in the third quarter, and Steve pulled him off the floor. Brought in Jordan Poole, interestingly, and Jordan played a little bit of a point guard off the bench there.
Well, all these minutes are great experience for Jordan, and he's playing better. He had a good game last game, and very strong in the fourth quarter, and this is all great experience for him. And again, a player like Bowman's a rookie. You're going to have nights where things aren't going the way you want them to, and that happens. And we got another one come Wednesday. He'll come out and compete hard.
This is like the third or fourth or fifth kind of roster turnover we've had this year between injuries, and now we have these trades. So there's a fine line between going out there and being selfish, right, or trying to move the ball. And when you're not running plays, you don't have a whole lot of sets in.
Yeah.
The first half, everyone was kind of stuck in mud. I thought in the third quarter, Draymond started pushing the ball, Andrew Wiggins got aggressive, and things started falling in place. And they won the second half by 7, right? So, I mean, that's a positive thing. The other thing, too, is like Steve said, they're going to need some time just to get Wiggins acclimated. And we talked about last game, Pop. They brought him here to fit in when the roster's whole, not to fit in with this group right here.
And it's hard to fit in right now. There's just not a flow to what you're seeing offensively. But to your point, they played much better in the third quarter. He had 11 assists off the bench as center. Adebayo had 7 assists. He's a starting center. Their centers had 18 assists. They were just the far better team for almost the entire night, Mully, with the exception of that third quarter when the Warriors had the 17-2 run. And as you said, it was Draymond, like we saw in that Portland series after Durant got hurt. Draymond rips and runs, gets the defensive rebound, pushes the ball up the floor, and that's when Andrew Wiggins came alive.
And that's where the mismatch is. When Draymond's handing the ball, you get a cross match, and he was actually pointing to Wiggins, get going. He threw the ball ahead once or twice. Wiggins drove it, made a 3-point shot. And that's what we talked about at halftime. Short halftime, Steve Kerr said, just give us some energy. Like he said, he told Wiggins opening night, the first game here, just run the... He was big-time efficient tonight, 7 for 12, 26 points. But what I see with Wiggins is he's got an easy-going, kind of laid-back personality, much like Stephen Clay, right? Draymond's going to have to be the alpha dog to line these guys up. But when there's spacing on the floor, he's getting to the rim and to the paint now when he's number 1 on the scouting report right now, and they're loading up on him. When that floor is spaced, his driving is going to be key. I think you'll see his assists go up, and with the motion offense will help him. You see he can play one-on-one individual offense. He's better with ball movement. He'll get more open shots.
He really struggled in the first half, but his third quarter was stupendous. He scored 14 points in that quarter after just 4 in the first half and a scoreless fourth quarter. Our dub of the day today, Marquise Chris followed up his 26-point performance against the Lakers on Saturday night with a strong game again tonight. He had 17 points and 9 more rebounds. Let's get reaction right now from Marquise Chris.
Steve Kerr mentions the competitiveness in the first half was not where it needed to be, but he saw you guys trying to respond in the third, especially. Why do you think the halves were different?
I don't know. I just think the energy we had coming into the game. You know, they said it before the game started that they've lost the last few games, so that they're hungry to win. And, you know, they punched us in the mouth first, I think, and it took us 2 quarters to really respond. And, you know, I think in the third quarter we had better energy, and our body language just picked up. You know, it seemed like we wanted to compete more in the second half than we did in the first half.
They scored 50 points in the paint tonight. Was that just a size difference? Was it something that they were doing? Was it something that you guys were missing?
I mean, I think that's just how they play. You know, they have their shooters running around the outside, and you have to honor that. You know, Duncan Robinson's a hell of a shooter. He got going, so we have to step up. And then, you know, Bam's a force crashing into the basket. So I think that, you know, the way that they play suits them, and they just had our number today. You know, they played hard, and we couldn't really respond. Appreciate it. Easy.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. Exit.